Okay, let's start. Thank you for attending today's webinar, Agentic AI Legal Knowledge Orchestration Framework. I will start with full screen mode. Let me share that one first. Okay, so today we are going to have five key topics to talk about. The first is the legal knowledge management challenges, and second is the agentic AI orchestration framework and use case ecosystem, and opportunity discovery for agentic AI orchestration framework, and MVP development in action and live demo. So I'm going to share this slide and recording. So I'm only going to touch the key part, and then you can look at the details. I also share the detailed white paper about this topic, so you can look at it. And I think that based on my statistics, all of the participants are expert in this field. So I'm not going to talk about basics. So legal knowledge management challenge. Actually, you guys are better positioned than me to talk about what is the challenges today. So I just summarize in my viewpoint. So you look at it, but actually, it's a like explosion of the legal data because there are a lot of the information available, but the 80% of the legal knowledge that based on this data is not used. So even if you have a lot of information, it does not lead to your legal intelligence to you can utilize. And then also that all of you are expert, including me. But now we have a lot of the things, complex situations handle. So it's overload our cognitive possibilities, capabilities. And also like there is a knowledge latency gap. So it's a matter of speed to, for example, that you're dealing with some very time sensitive matters, and then your synthesis about the capability of synthesis of your knowledge, and then lead into something that the valuable to for your time sensitive matters is very key. And so the speed is the key. And also that based on this one, there was a lot of the cost. And here is some example that I show you so you can read later. And I know that because the for example that there are a lot of the vendors that providing some part of the kind of legal practice and legal analysis, legal research type of the solution provide, and then including big vendors. And so, but I'm not a vendor. Like I'm an innovator. I'm just delivering the idea, the how to innovate. And then recently, I collaborated some of the like developers that they are not the kind of like developing the commercial level product. So, so I'm just look at the in the third party view that what's the they deliver and what is the limitation of that. So. Just to summarize on this, if you're interested in the current state of art, the solution, maybe some of you have engaged with this kind of the development. Also, some of you have maybe used this kind of like tools already. So I just summarized the most representative platform that available. And then I found that still there are many aspects actually that they need to be improved. So so basically, this agentic AI is, in a technical sense, is the current state of art in AI. Okay? So, for example, yesterday I presented my own agentic AI innovation, in MIT. And then there were a lot of the people gathered together about what is the future of AI. And then I is sure that agentic AI is the current state of art. So that said means that the agentic AI is not the one actually the fully deployed in legal sectors. So this is kind of like someone maybe it's early stage, and then full powerful agentic AI implementation in the legal area is not yet reached. So there are not many commercial vendors also to implementing this up-to-date AI. Most of my topic is not touching on the commercial level product, right? So it's still developing. So I'm going to share that my uh, more than 2 years experience developing agentic AI innovation, and then I apply to what kind of things may be possible in the current state of the agentic AI in legal matters, especially the legal knowledge management aspect. So I'm not going to talk about much on technical side because but I think that the key aspect of agentic AI is they are similar to in the human kind of like a thought process, right? So what they're doing is very similar to what the human experts doing. So for example, the six core cognitive functions is perceive that they know about the what kind of data, better what kind of data they needed, what is goal. So it's kind of like a human thought process in the initiating that what kind of like things you wanted to solve, right? Because they are perceived and reason they think about it, right? They interpret the logic, precedent or status, all the kind of like reasoning process, legal reasoning process. We are doing the same thing they are doing. And also like they have a memory, so they remember what have done. So it kind of like some with respect to the past knowledge management kind of things it can bring on. So there will be no redundancies you need to do again in a newly way. So and then they can use tool use. It's very powerful, right? So they can connect with any kind of like other third party tools available in the legal knowledge management. And also like they decide decision making and do act. And then also like they oversight usually in co-filer with the human, right? Because the human oversight, the most of the current agentic AI is the infrastructure for it. This is so we call large language model like ChatGPT. So everybody know that they have some still limitation like hallucination, bias, and many other things, and then explainability. So even if they are powerful, actually there should be governance to the like operation and outcome. So one way is to like a human in the loop, and that they oversight what's going on and checking where is errors or something like that. And this is kind of like, for example, legal relevance of agentic AI, then is in the general terminology, you can think of what in a legal sense that the perceive means they understand full legal context. So by integrating case law, contract filings, and regulations. So, and then reason is applies legal logic to connect fact, crowds, and present with the explainable citation-based output. And remember, is retain value to institutional knowledge, and rulings, innovation history, comprise patterns for continuity and use tools in interact with like DMS and CLM and e-discovery seems to perform secure auditable legal operations and act is execute defined legal actions like a draft reviews, validation and that within ethical and procedure limit and govern it self-regulate under kind of like a regular compliance or the like a policy that they ensure the transparency, traceability, and accountability. So, Actually, the actual implementation of agentic AI is they have some layered orchestration framework. So what it mean by is that there is some kind of like a knowledge ingestion harmonization. So integrate rulings, contract patterns, compliance record, and internal document. And regular reasoning core is a combined verified retrieval. It's some technique to explain reasoning, right? Because to make sure that you use the right data set and you use the reach into the right reasoning so you can have some protect measure using this technology. And then agentic install intelligence layers, a network domain specific legal agent. And adaptive learning and governance layer is ensure transparent auditability and regularity of compliance. Okay, so here is some detail about each sectors. I will skim over. Yeah, so you can look at it later. So what kind of like use case of this agentic AI framework can use? So it can be endless because actually the one of the motivation of today's webinar is I want to hear from you that I know about the basic scheme and how to apply, how to implement, but I don't know about the whole use case, right? So I really want to collaborate someone expertise in the field that what kind of like the your challenging matters can be solved by this agentic AI framework. That's one of my goal. So, for example, is one is a connected legal knowledge ecosystem. So this is based on legal practice. So, for example, that you're a global law firm and managing high-stake litigation, cross-border M&A, IP prosecution around 12 international office face on, and then there are some fundamental barriers. So this problem you should be specified, right? Because you are better positioned than me in some specific practice. I'm a IP lawyer, so I'm a patent attorney, so I'm very familiar with all the IP legal practice, but I'm not familiar with other matters. So this is just to generalize, but it requires some more fine detail about what is your challenge in your practice. And then we can make a design a framework and then try to solve it. So so presents are stored in kind of like Westlaw and LexisNexis under various taxonomy, right? So and then filing and corporate disclosure resides in many different type of database. And internal memos to diligence node and the client correspondence sit scattered across SharePoint, something like that. So regulate update. So so you need a list of the challenges you currently have in your legal practice to like address by this agentic AI. And the solution that based on these legal challenges and based on the we understand what is the agent AI function and features to implement. And then from this one actually we can design that the agentic legal operation framework and embedding a legal knowledge graph at its core, an intelligent, continuously updating map that connects present current contract rulings and obligation across internal and external sources. Basically, I'm going to show live demo. So you will have a sense that better sense through the demo that what is the mean by this, what is the legal graph, what it looks like. But anyway, because how it work. So it kind of like a data ingestion harmonization. So integrate structures and unstructured data from all kind of like a data source and then other repository that you integrate everything. And then you try to understand. So and then and entity relationship linking, so automatically identify the relationship between client cases, status, and cloud. And then link internal matter file with relevant external ruling. So it just utilizing not only the integrating internal resources, but also like looking at the outside resources. And the dynamic graph learning is continuously updates, continuously new rulings and policy optimate. So it's kind of like a reasoning path that trace how past rigor, argument, present, or the contract relevant current matters. So it's kind of like using memory function. And then unified search and retrieval interface. So attorney can query in natural language, for example, show all the EU data transfer ruling similar to our year 2022 case under something like that. So it's like it provides like something that unified legal ground, legal tool that when you have something to have to look at it, and then just query. It's kind of like a ChatGPT kind of query, the natural language query, and then it understand and then it give you some answer. So so if you implement this one, what will be the actual thing? So this case actually the we have a use case actually implemented in a some law form for this matter. So for example, the 70% faster retriever, like, and then like reduce cross office duplication and unify the living case memory and increase client value and governance by design. So you can have a very like a quantifiable kind of like a benefit right away you can have it. And then I give you some contract life cycle intelligence because this kind of case is a end to end, right? So it's a same framework, but in the attack different problems. So we need to have a very well defined problem set needed to attack. So this is another way, like in challenges, a fragmented contract ecosystem cloud operators, for example, across large law firm and corporate legal department, contract management remains. So it's kind of like how to contract manage because a huge amount of the contracts is going on in the large law firm or the corporate legal department. So it tries to integrate all related knowledge related to this contract, and then it's very same scheme that you have seen in the previous cases. So I just recommend to look at it later. So this can be end to end because if you provide something that I can provide some how to solve it. So for example, litigation intelligence, I also work involved in some IP litigation. So I know about what the process litigation and what kind of things you prepare and what kind of knowledge you need to like integrate. So it's kind of like, for example, the challenges is a discovery overload and manual review bottleneck, right? Because you need to, discovery is, I know that there are a lot of the like discovery related software, but there isn't any orchestrate to the integrate holistic way to the knowledge related discovery and they give you some insight based on what you need. So for example, modern irrigation teams confront a scale problem, so no human aquifer can match. So, for example, the single large case can generate over 200,000 discovery document, email, attachment, memos. So, how actually to manage and then get the insight from this is a matter. So, you can look at it what kind of challenges relate to litigations, and then it based on your practice area type, this will be varying, but generally the same framework will apply. So solution into litigation intelligence co-filer. So I provided that contract kind of thing. Oh, here is a mistake is a litigation uh thing. So okay, and then uh another thing, maybe the large corporate department transformation. For example, that the in-house legal bottleneck is if you are the in-house counsel, or then you may be better positioned than me. So this is generalized problem that the corporate legal department are under unprecedented operation pressure. So as organizers expand across jurisdictions, the volume of large compliance work will multiplier. It's a kind of like a thousands NDAs, right? Vendor contract compliance report, fraud in monthly. And then so teams rely on email-based workflow and legacy document management system, many kind of thing battle that you can look at it. The solution is a unified entity legal co-filer for enterprise. So entity co-filer legal, this is one integrated directly into enterprise workflows. So connecting contract compliance and regulatory system into one intelligence and orchestrate layer. So you can think about how can you have a car this unified entity legal profile can bring to you the key capability, right? Integrate workflow intelligence and smart document review and triage and compliance regulatory monitor. So it's use case end to end, right? I try to develop rather than just this is kind of like end to end case by case, but I try to have something that how actually to find out some space that this agentic AI framework can be applied. So I just made some unified view to how to find out opportunity to apply this agentic AI in your legal practice. This is one thing generally that where agentic AI create immediate value. So if you apply, right, and then you have a immediate value with the price you can apply. So for example, legal organizations already have abundant data, digital tools, and analytics dashboard, but is structural reasoning adaptive intelligence. So identity will fill the gap by introducing explainable and autonomous decision supporting into workflows that are repeatable, measurable, and risk sensitive. So where you can find opportunity, if you have abundant data, but no structural reasoning, so legal teams possess immense volume of document, contract, filing, docket, and present, but little connective intelligence. So Agentic AI transform these repositories into the living reasoning network that unify context, tracers, and drive meaning. So turning data into explainable knowledge. And then repeatable legal workflow with a measurable outcome, right? Because you have a kind of like a process like NDA review, regulatory reporting, discovery classification, and compliance updates follow structural logic, but the consume hours of human effort. So efficiency is a matter. So Agentic can automate this repeatedly yet reasoning intensive task. Tracking measure the outcomes such as cycle time, accuracy, and audit readiness. The other is high compliance and audit or document burden is kind of like industry like the finance, energy, and healthcare generate the constant legal respect obligation. So highly regulate industry in the legal practice in this field. The AI in this sense ensures continuously audit trace each grounded very favorable citation and timestamp provenance. And then you have like a very complex kind of structure operations, so multi-jurisdictional or the multi-entity complexity, then global enterprise and cross-border firms and work to reconcile diverse legal framework, policy, and language, and to give it like a unified orchestration of the whole across whole different entities and different jurisdictions, things that's identically harmonized. These kind of rules and then in different country the single reasoning framework, dynamic mapping obligation and exceptional across entity. One of the beauty of the agentic AI is they are multilingual because they're based on large language models. So it's naturally that there is multilingual, it's a multi-regional. So having said that, also like if you lead strong need of the explainability and traceability, right? Agentic AIs provide all the how you got the insight. They provide all the process of reasoning, right? So it explain you how you get this one, right? So it's building trust with the regulator, auditors, and clients through the explainable automation. Where you start? Pilot agentic AI in high volume document heavy workflows, such as NDAs, compliance report, discovery review, contract closure, normalization, something like that. As I mentioned, that it give you the immediate ROI, so measurable risk reduction and scalable proof of enterprise-wide adoption is enabled. Okay, so basically, I just mentioned that I'm an innovator, so I done this kind of innovation over several years, and I just recently have some partner actually that they have actually information, they are engineers. So based on my understanding of the legal challenges and then I can design it in the initial stage and then they have a capability to quickly like implement it as an MVP and a commercial level. So we collaborate. So we just design how the work process we can provide like MVP development in action. So, for example, scoping is opportunity definition, and then we look at the POC, and so look at what the available, and then MVP is within 3 or 4 weeks, and then prototype information required. In some case, actually, the real world validation it requires some time, so we can collaborate with the institution want this kind of agentic framework to implement and then in the handover scale or something like that. Okay, so this is I just came over here looking at it. This is actually our technical stack to actually built up to this framework for depending on your use case. So we have like the layers of the like we adopted and we well developed the tools to bring to the case of use so we can have a modular structure to implement. So we already have actually the my have a lot of intensive experience to design some specific target like the agentic AI design, and then my partner has a very kind of multiple years experience actually implementing utilizing this kind of agentic AI tech stacks. So this is one actually that we can and collaborate with you. You're interested in implementing the agentic AI to solve your particular problem. Okay, so I will show you some demo because it did bit make you understand. And then I want to have more time to hear from you that what is your legal challenges and then we wanna just discuss about like whether agentic AI can be a good solution for your this particular problem or something like that. So this live demo is to show you the connected legal knowledge ecosystem. So I tried to give you a showcase that agentic legal knowledge is a framework in action in architecture that transform fragmented legal position repository into explainable continuous learning intelligent network. So it's based on scenario. So the scenario is a global law firm that operating across 12 jurisdictions and struggle to unify legal knowledge scattered across multiple systems. So this is one actually the I already introduced in the legal like a use case ecosystem. So what I want to show is to that this one real-time linking of the like all data resources and then what is by the graph, right? Because knowledge graph visualization and then natural language query, and then what kind of things you have it, right? So so you will see that right away that 70% faster document retrieval and 65% reduction in redundant research and one of the broadest ready reasoning chain for defensibility. So you will see that I think that the better way is to just to look at the demo because I just design it and implement in my ChatGPT. So so I just tested this morning. It's working very well. So the actual MVP, we are not using this ChatGPT because ChatGPT is just a experimental, right? It's there not commercial level, that implementation is, but they are good too because they have a large language model and in-house like a reasoning model. So the only matter is to design. So I designed that working as a like an agentic framework to solving this particular problem using prompt engineering. But this is very intuitive because it give you very goes through the detail about how you get. So, for example, that I developed is the idea of how the connected legal knowledge ecosystem. So, so the step one is to perception, right? Because you need an input, right? Because what kind of scenario you want to solve, right? So you can have a bunch of the things. You can have it like a cross-border M&A, data transfer compliance, patent litigation, IP portfolio storage, connect governance and compliance. So it can be like implement any as many as you want. Like you have a particular problem, right? So maybe I can so cross-border M&A and data transfer compliance will be the good to start. So it's a legal scenario input done. And then it kind of like the cross-border M&A involving GDPR compliance and other like jurisdiction compliance. And then the source that you are going to utilize Westlaw, LexisNexis, and other SEC filings and patent and internal data management system and then contract management system and competitive authority decision, something like that. So, and the objective is unify discovery across 12 jurisdictions and validate previous boundaries and retrieve the case analysis for data transfer and merger control and general advice for compliance and negotiation strategy. So it set the goal and then it activate the agentic AI agent. So it just activate like a data fusion agent is collect and normalize legal data across all sources and ontology mapper agent is assigned the terminology, right? So M&A, antitrust, GDPR, merger, readiness, and so on. And then entity link agent is a build reasonable mapping, right? So you can see that this we call this is multi-agent system. So the each agent have a very specific capability function to do some specific task. So you can develop the specific task agent. You can think of a specialist, and then they collaborate. So they are multi-agent system, and there is a layer that actually orchestrate this agent to collaborate. And then initialize multi-jurisdiction rigor orchestration is done, and then it goes to the next step. So, and the second step is that all the data sets identify and then search and gather, and then it like try to integrate data and then legalize graph creation. So the system now begins collecting, harmonizing all legal, regulatory, and transactional information relevance, cross-border M&A, and GDPR Article 46 compliance scenario. So the data fusion agent alpha is collecting document across internal and external repositories. So as I mentioned, that they not only the internal, they also utilize the external sources. So it look at the relevant source to for your problem. So it look at the different type of the external source. You look at it. And the internal source, so there is a due diligence document and NDA and the internal compliance memo and the 17 risk assessment. So, and then it have all data sources and then it integrate and harmonize. So normalize metadata across jurisdiction, aligning document type, M&A on tools, something like that, right? And then based on this, it developed a legal knowledge graph. So this graph include this entity type, like a client, subsidiaries, affiliate, and it tried to think about all the stakeholders and all the like a target matter into one. And then it give you for example, that utilizing like a huge amount of legal entity indexes, something like that. and then it give you that the based on this analysis, would you like to visualize M&A knowledge graph showing link between all different type of the knowledge entities, right? And then go yes. And then it also like utilizing all the historical context relevant to this particular problem, right? So it tried to avoid a redundancy in doing this, and then previous safe view of the further reasoning. So it look at the case history agent and looking at all the retrieving the cross case history, module filing, all of the data sets you already done. So and then it identify the historical things that you already done. So it just find out the whole different areas you need it. And then it look at the show that the would you like to generate a cross-directional case linkage visualized with something like that, right? So I just skim over, but you can if you say yes, that like you can communicate like yes, I want to generate cross-directional case linkage, for example, that the I like to read this one, and then it'll be done, right? So. So So beauty of this is that because this is a very natural language type that communicate with you. So that's why this framework is co-filer because they interact continuously with users and then get the requirement and understand what the needed and provide whatever the need is in the system, right? So and then go to step yes. And then evidence retrieval legal reasoning. And then in relevance evidence, identify the GDPR data transfer evidence and competition and then antitrust measure model ready kind of thing and contractual evidence. And then it also like to communicate with you that would you like to system to generate a comparative data transfer compliance brief for summarize application risk and everything, right? Because it can be done, right? Because you said I want like the system to generate, it will generate as you've seen before. And then go to next step. So it gives you the deliverables. So it one is a cross-border data transfer compliance brief, and then a governance and compliance impact summary. So it'll be the like a decision support system. So the you are human expert, you the lawyers are the party actually determine, but everybody there support you, so they can be like response to your client very in a effective way. You provide all the legal reasoning and provide the outcomes delivers for you to use. And and then it's like, would you like to uh, propagate this compliance update cloud change to the whole CLM system, right? Because they interact with the internal system, right? So it collaborate for based on this. And then as I mentioned that it reviewed by the legal expert and then verify that everything the delivers the generate in the agentic AI, and then if it get the feedback, And then the beauty of this agentic AI system is that they are self-learning. They learn from interaction and learn from their like act, so experience. So it give you a human expert to look at it, review, and then provide the feedback, and then learn from this, and then there'll be more better answer in the next time. So it give you this one, the older things that you have it, right? So this demonstration shows how engineers transform complex multi-jurisdictional M&A compliance workflow into unified explainable continuously learning bigger internal system. So you can do other things, but I will stop here. And I want to have some time to discuss with you about your insight about how we can utilize the agentic AI framework, right? And what kind of specific challenges we can have a solution for utilize this one, right? Okay, so stop here. Okay, so could you share your insight or whatever comment? Because I want to hear from you because because I just invite all different type of the expertise in legal practice. So you maybe share your in your case that what kind of like challenging you have it, and then what kind of things maybe we can collaborate to solve your challenges using this agentic AI framework. Okay, yeah, sure.
Thank you. Let me lower my hand here. Love the presentation, and my background, by way of reference, is building and managing discovery teams for different vendors, as well as had my own discovery company that I founded. I think discovery intelligence that you've described has a great use case, but the specific use case within my subsector of legal tech is going to be individual discrete document level determinations in the context of discovery. And I admired your description of a large of 200,000 documents as a large data set. I've seen document sets ranging up to 30 million documents. That was back in the days of the residential mortgage-backed securities crisis and the attendant litigation. So one of the use cases in discovery will be actually substituting the human component of the document review. And I'm curious whether you see any use case in the near future where you'll be able to make determinations on an individual document level.
Oh, that's a very good things to start. Because once you have just toss me to some your specific problem that I will think over. Because because the matter is I didn't know what the problem I need to solve, right? So I think that you are the good use case that I can think about it, right? Because this is very practical matter that I think that in my sense because you know that because editing AI is not just orchestration, they are good reasoning kind of like entity, right? So, for example, that yesterday that I attended MIT, and then I said about in the future of AI is not just to like a lot of the like a country to invest and develop in the infrastructure layer algorithm or something like that. But I'm thinking about the future of AI is how human can collaborate AI, right? And then this agentic AI is a good case that I actually explained over me that I tried to like interact with my agentic AI to implement in ChatGPT that whenever I do some task, I tried to do first that I transfer my expertise to my agentic AI to understand and then through the continuous collaboration, it really gets getting smarter and smarter, right? So I think the very interesting in your thing is that the I never experienced I know that the only matter that I actually know about is to when I attended law school there was a vendor then it discovery matter just starting, right? And then but what you mentioned is that the expert side, like so the expert kind of like the in the during the process of the e-discovery that whether the agent can the like replicate of the expert doing manually. And then from my understanding that they can be the follow for example the very scrutiny about the detailed microscopic level review of the e-discovery outcome and then getting better, the good insight about that, right? So could you share later? And then maybe we can talk later about your specific problem, and then I can maybe have a good idea to how to collaborate.
Yeah, thank you for answering and be happy to connect offline.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other one? So in case that actually the you have a come up with the idea that your specific things, right? Because as I mentioned that I'm not a commercial vendor, right? So I'm a lawyer, so the innovator, right? I really want to understand the like Sherry the share that what her legal practice expertise that what really matter, particularly agentic AI that I mentioned that they're doing it very similar to human reasoning, right? So you think about you done as you're from expertise in your legal practice that done manually, right? And then by some time you have Phew, like your overload is overloaded by this the manual task, even if you have expertise, right? For example, I'm 30 years in tech, and then I'm a law IP lawyer for 20 years, but that's why actually the listening I developed a bunch of the IP intelligence for my practice, right? And then so I found that oh it's fantastic because because you can think of I said like that is my agentic AI twin of me, right? Because I have the co-filer actually my friend, right? AI friend actually the exactly miming me, and then it helped me but like AI, their capability, like for example, when you're doing something in task, if you think about you have a specific task, and then think about, oh, there was a huge burden into you because even if your expert is human's capability is very limited, right? Because we have a emotional thing, but the AI doesn't care, right? So, so that's what I find, right? Because even if they follow me and then I just teach them to my framework, but their performance is 1,000 x than me, right? So if you find out something that have overload your mental process, right, and then if you really want to utilizing ADD AI to follow you, and then it'll give you very very efficiencies and capability. For me, that I found that more than 1,000x to capability that I can do. So if you have any case that you have find this one, just please contact me. I really want to collaborate with you to attack your problem. Anything to you wanna share? And then just comment or whatever. Mm. Actually, the here is one guy, the Randy. He's a healthcare guy. Actually, I'm working in also like in the innovation side, the healthcare, right? And then I found that for example that the next semester I'm going to teach at Johns Hopkins is to developing agentic profiler. Actually, the agentic the digital twin of you, right? So I'm just to experiment whether the my framework that I did my to me to be like healthcare professionals that have expertise experience they transfer their experience expertise to their own agentic AI and whether they can be done right so I'm going to explain but anyway because this will be the same I'm interested in your legal expert and then in your practice, and I'm very interested in you collaborate with you that designing your agentic AI twin that very similar to do what you're doing in your legal practice and reasoning, right? And then I want to see what's happening. Okay, so no other comment and question, and then as I mentioned that I will share this presentation and the recording with you right away. Okay, so if you're interested in this kind of topic, then just let me know. And then I have another thing. If you think that 2 weeks later, I'm going to do a similar thing for the financer area. So because I'm targeting this, all targeting the same thing. The legal knowledge is a very important sector. Is kind of like a highly knowledgeable field, right? It's the healthcare and legal and finance. So I'm targeting this space. So if you are interested in, for example, not just the legal matters, the to attacking financial knowledge, for example, investment research type is very similar to legal research type. So if you're interested in, and please attend my next webinar about the similar scope, but apply to financial matters. Okay. Okay, so Randy, thank you for attending. Actually, you are the high skill guys.
Actually, of interest that you may not know is that when I was in college, I did an internship on the jury selection process for the public defender's office, and then obviously it was very monotonous. And this, agentic AI could have really, accelerated all the information I was documenting by hand
hmm
every single day. It probably would have been done in a matter of hours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
that
that's
could have
true.
actually helped out the public defender's office as far as like what areas of decision making they could process
hmm
and determine that there's a benefit versus just having all this information, and it's almost impossible to digest on a case
hmm
by case basis.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
But
thank
thank you for
you.
your time. I enjoy your webinars. I
Mhm.
learn something every time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so hope to see you in my next webinar, or if you personally contact me and we can collaborate for this identity. Like, I think this is literally the future of the kind of like AI, right? So you're interested in adopting AI in your legal practice, and then how you actually adopt it is a problem, right? Because a lot of vendors just using AI, whatever. But I said is kind of like actually what type of AI, how to use. That's I'm really interested in, and then that's why this kind of like a framework we have here, right? Adopt in the legal practice is highly regulated and highly intelligence needed, right? And then how we actually utilize AI in your practice. Okay. Thank you very much for attending today's webinar, and then you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.